A pleasant day to each and everyone. I am Ruby Jane J. Bejarano, together with Miss Jaylin Ali and Angel Gumahad. Today we're going to tackle about the intellectual revolutions that define society. What is the intellectual revolution? Intellectual revolution is a time period when advancements of science and technology change people's perspective and beliefs. So scientists in all periods of time are driven by their curiosity, critical thinking, and creativity to explore the physical and natural world, and also influence society by promoting critical thinking and creating rules to provide equal opportunities to the people. And there is three revolutions that define the society. One, the ideas of known intellectuals. Second, information revolution. And third, the cradles of early science. The ideas of non-intellectuals, the period of shifts or changes into scientific beliefs that have been widely embraced and accepted by the people. By promoting critical thinking and creating rules to provide equal opportunities to the people. Information revolution, one of the most significant shifts in human society and economics in the last 50 years, translates into the demand for development, floor space, and buildings. As of early science, it is the cultures Maya, Inca, Aztec, and Olmec. People practice farming, develop social structures, raise arms, and also to worship too many gods. Copernican shift in the field of astronomy from a geometric understanding of the universe, centered around Earth, to a heliocentric understanding centered around the Sun. Copernicus believed that the Earth rotates daily on its axis and the planets revolve in orbits around the Sun. You can see the image. The motion of Sun is stand for the color yellow, Earth for blue, and Mars for red. And in the left side is a left Copernicus, the heliocentric motion. In the right side is the right traditional geocentric motion, including the retrograde motion of Mars. Darwinian comes from the Darwinian theory proposed by Charles Darwin and others in his book On the Origins of Species in 1859. Primarily known as the architect of the theory of evolution by natural selection, was explored by 19th century. In 1859, proposing continual revolution, Darwin argues that evolution takes place through a process called natural selection, and also the real name of Darwinian is Charles Robert Darwin. You can see in the picture there is a evolution happen. The astronomer Nicolaus Copernicus in the 16th century. Copernican revolution started in between 1508 to 1543 BC, when Copernicus had his finding published.
What is Freudian Revolution? So Freudian Revolution, Sigmund Freud, the father of psychoanalysis, is one of the 21st century most influencer thinkers. He believed that when people explain their behavior, they rarely give a true account of their motivation, not because they are deliberately lying, but because they are more adept at self-deception. And then, Freud also created another structural theory of personality that emphasizes the role of unconscious psychological conflicts in shaping behavior and personality. So, When we say personality, it is a combination of characteristics or qualities that forms an individual's distinctive characters. So, ano nga ba siya? So, dito, malalaman natin ang 3 components of personality of Sigmund Freud's affecting human behavior. So, we have 3 components of personality by Sigmund Freud's affecting the human behavior. So, which is the id, superego, and ego. So, what are these 3? So, the id is made up of unconscious psychic energy that works to satisfy basic needs, urges, and desires. So, id is the only part of the personality that is present at birth, and that is primitive components of our personality existed fully within the unconscious. So, sinasabi dito, it is present at birth. So, diba, during our time when we were a baby, the first thing we did after we were born was crying. Or, nagugutom tayo. And asking for a milk or wanting an attention from our mother. So, that is the part of our personality to satisfy the basic needs and our desire. So, the second is the superego. So, superego is composed of people's internalized ideals acquired from parents and society. So, itong superego works to suppress the urges of the id and tries to make the ego behave normally rather than realistically. So, aside from the morals and values that people have learned from their parents, the ideals that contribute to the formation of superego also includes the ideals of rights and wrong that they acquire from their society and culture in which they live in. So, kumbaga, itong si superego, this is your conscience, or kung tinatawag natin na siya yung nagdidikta kung tama bang ginagawa ni id o mali. Tapos, binabalance niya din yung action ni ego. And the last is the ego. So, the ego is the one that meditates the demands of the id and the superego. So, from reality. So, kumbaga, siya yung nagiging gitna at kung paano niya dinidikta o dinadirect sa realidad. It prevents people from acting under basic urges created by the id and works to achieve a balance with their moral and idealistic standard created by the superego. So, kumbaga, hindi niya kino-compromise yung need ni id at yung need ni superego. Binabalance niya at kino-confirm niya sa kung ano yung realistic. So, the ego operates based on the reality principle which work to satisfy the id's desires in a manner that it is realistic and social appropriate. So, it is less primitive than the id and aspiredly conscious in partly unconscious. So, let's proceed to the first civilization, which is the Mesoamerican civilization. So, Mesoamerican civilization was a region cultural area in the America extending from approximately central Mexico, the to Belize, Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, and northern Costa Rica. And there was where colonial societies were flourished. So the pre-colonial society was the Aztec, which is the Mayans and Incas. So archaeologists has updated human presence in Mesoamerican to possibly early 21,000 BCE by 11,000 BCE. Hunting and gathering communities occupied most the New World. Okay, and then These were the following major contributions of advancement in the Mesoamerican civilization. They contributed greatly in our agriculture because as early as 7000 BC, the cultivation of cacao, corn, beans, tomatoes, squash, and chili was, as well as the domestication of the turkey. Need a transition from Paleo-Indian hunter-gathering tribal groupings so the organization of sedentary agriculture villages. So, then the main food source of Mesoamerican were what they called the Three Sisters, which is the beans, corn, and squash. Growing these three crops together added in retaining the nutrients of the kasi nga nagkakaroon ng crop rotation, and then yung cacao nga was considered as another culturally important crop because diba that is its use in trade, currency, as well as rituals. And then yung mga cotton plants as well as the rubber trees were used in making cultural significant products such as the textiles for cotton and the rubber balls. So yung rubber, sa rubber, and then yung mga rubber balls in the other hand is ginagawa nila or ginagamit nila for performance games because this was related to the mines of Mesoamerican due to ritual significance. So parang meron more on performance game or as well as the rituals. So yun yung kanilang major contributions or major advancement. Another was various cultivation techniques were done by Mesoamerican farmers to combat the lack of usable land and cultural conditions. Combinations of a crop rotation and slash burn techniques to retain as many nutrients as possible. So ito po yung sa slash burn techniques, kumbaga they will first get to cut off the plants then saka susunugin. So with that, dun ma-retain yung mga soil nutrients tapos saka gamitin yung crop rotation dun sa mga Three Sisters na crops to retain the nutrients. And then Mesoamerican farmers also form direct traces. So yung mga in case, diba, they will form terraces along the slope of the mountain valley, and then these traces was made of stone walls, while others were made by cutting down largest trees from slash burn techniques, and mounding swirl around them. And then Mesoamerican native were also the first to use irrigation techniques. And aside from agriculture, syempre kilala din ang Mesoamerican sa pag-create ng first known calendar. So, meron silang tatlong klase ng calendar. So, there's a civil calendar, agricultural calendar, and yung ceremonial calendar. The civil calendar is the adahap, and then yung ceremonial calendar is for a ceremonial purposes, which is tinatawag niyang a Chalkin calendar. Combining then, they will held in a creation of complicated calendars. To track both literally movements of the constellations, yung agricultural calendar, yun yung Aztec calendar. Okay, so those are the major contribution of Mesoamerican civilization that define their society. So, for great invention in China, we have 4 invention, which is first the compass, gunpowder, printing, and paper making. So these 4 great inventions greatly promoted the development of China's economy, politics, and culture when these technologies were introduced to the West through various channels. They substantially revolutionized world civilization. So the first invention was the compass. Chinese people invented the device called nan to tell the directions during the warring stage in 770 BC to 221 BC, and it became a round compass after several improvements. So, ang compass, ginagamit siya bilang daan o kumbaga nagbibigay siya ng direksyon kung saan natin gusto maglakbay or to travel. So, the second invention was the gunpowder. The gunpowder was invented inadvertently by some Chinese alchemists during the Tang Dynasty in 618 to 907. It is a mixture of sulfur, salt, peter, and charcoal. So, kumbaga, ang gunpowder ay ginagamit siya to fire projectiles and detonate other explosives like sa fireworks to produce colorful smoke, and in some smoke machines to produce bubbles, and as incense substitute. So like cannons and grenades were among the earliest weapons to incorporate gunpowder, followed by primitive handled firearms which consisted of a hollow bamboo tubes packed with gunpowder and small projectiles. Paper making, the third invention, was invented in about the year 105 AD, meaning in the year of the Lord, by Kai Lun, who is an imperial court official of a Han dynasty in 206 BC to 220 AD. He used old drugs, fishing nets, hemp waste, mulberry, and other vast fibers to make the paper. So paper was formed from wood pulp or plant fiber. Paper is chiefly used for written communication. The earliest paper was papyrus, made from use of the ancient Egyptians. Paper was made by the Chinese in the 2nd century, probably by a Chinese court official named Kai Lun. His paper was made from such thing as the bark and old fishing nets. So, paper making was known in the Islamic world from the end of the 8th century AD. So, the last one is the printing, which is the movable, usable, clay-type printing technique was invented by Bisheng in 970 to 10,051 in Song Dynasty. In 960 to 12,079 after numerous tests. In the early versions of printing technology originated in China with a woodblock printing. Text would be written out on a piece of paper and pressed against a wooden block. A knife would be used to carve out the text into the wood. Ink would be placed over the wood block and pressed into other sheets of paper to print works on a large scale. However, this was still a slow process compared to the modern printing, which is the inventors started to try to create a mechanical process for printing to make the process more or most seamless. Other alchemy, which is the Taoist chemistry. Western world, the Tao is translated as the way of perfect harmony with nature in its original form. From this comes ancient Taoism, the Chinese philosophy that stresses living simply, honestly, and in harmony with nature. A man named Lao Tzu is believed by many to be the first to receive the inspiration of the Tao. Being very concerned with perfecting the human experience, Taoism has historically been linked to alchemy, the process of transforming something into a more valuable state of being. So Taoism, also spelled as Taoism, in a Chinese philosophy and practice used to establish the original balance within humans and society. So Tao is considered the perfect harmony or union with the universe and nature in its original form. So alchemy combines chemistry with something magical, practice of combination to create something valuable, such as an elixir. So Taoist alchemy combines Tao and alchemy in order to transform human beings to give them a longer life while bringing them closer to the Tao. So, this alchemy has often been divided into two parts. So, the two types of alchemy, which is the inner alchemy, is to improve physical, mental, and emotional health, and the other one is the external chemistry. Purpose is to create an elixir to make humans immortal. So the internal alchemy is while many alchemists think with the metal more or other, turn their attention to the human body. This was especially true of the Taoists. From ancient times till now, Taoists have placed a large emphasis on healing the body through things like the martial arts, yoga, and even massage. All of these aspects of caring for the physical body are done in order to create oneness between the physical body and the Tao. So the second is the external. So, limiting the process of alchemy to only internal process within the body. Taoists were among the first to begin using mineral and herbs to promote quality of life, known as Waidan or external alchemy. These practitioners began looking outside the body to nature. Adding to this, they began searching for a way to not just live better but to live forever. In short, they began searching for the recipe for external life or immortality. So, internal and external alchemy, Taoist physically practice such as the breath exercises, massage, martial arts, yoga, and meditations are designated to transform a person both mentally and physically and so bring them into closer harmony with Tao.
So the next one is all about Asian. So Asian have a major contribution of Asia, which is the traditional Chinese medicine, acupuncture, and herbal medicine were practiced. So Asian is the largest and also the most popular continent in the world. It is more of the oldest civilization and some of the most diverse cultures, language, and religions. It is a continent, so the traditional Chinese medicine, it has involved our over 1,000 of years. So yung major contribution ng Asia is yung traditional medicine of Chinese. So the traditional Chinese medicine, it has involved over 1,000 of years. TCM practitioners use various psychological and or a physical approach such as acupuncture and tai chi, as well as herbal products to address health problems. So like I said, yung mga psychological or physical na nag-a-approach sila sa tradition ng Chinese medicine dahil nag-practices ito sa acupuncture and Thai parang nag-help sila sa mga nag-help sila to improve yung quality ng life natin or sa mga certain pain conditions natin. Yung Chinese product nila is used in the traditional Chinese nga. At traditional Chinese med for a range of medical condition that have a mixed results. So Middle East is an area of the world that includes many countries such as Turkey, Israel, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, and Iran. Throughout this history, these people have neither invented or contributed to the development of important technologies that have impacted the fields of astronomy, medicine, and much more. So, yung major contribution ng Middle East is by Tauji Adin Muhammad Ibn Maruf Ashami Al-Asapi. So, this is one of the world's most famous polymaths, born in Damascus, now located in Syria in 1526. His knowledge and observations contributed much to the field of astronomy. Important properties related to the visions, coordinates of stars, elementary system, turbine, reflection, and refractions. So yung dito, So, yung celestial coordination system is a system for specifying position of celestial objects like mga satellites, planets, stars, galaxy, and etc. Yung coordinate na system, provide siya sa magiging specify sa subject's position na merong dimensional space o di kaya, meron siyang plot merely, it's direct or direct siya sa celestial sphere if the object's distance in unknown or curvature. So, yung rudimentary steam turbine is a steam turbine is a machine that gets the thermal energy na galing sa pressure term. Also, nagagamit din ito para magbigay ng energy or gumawa ng mechanical work by rotation. Usually then connected to siya sa mga nakikita natin like generator na nakikita natin to produce some electricity. Next is the reflection and refraction. So, yung reflection naga-involve siya sa changes ng direction of waves when they bounce off a barrier. While yung refraction tawag nito? Nagaano yung wave which is involved para mag-change yung direction of waves para maging pass from one medium to another. So, African is the oldest civilization on earth is thought to have originated in Africa. The first intellectual empathy is throughout have occurred in Africa. African progress has significantly added humankind early adoption of knowledge. So, the major contribution of Africa is first the astronomy. So, the movement of the sun, stars, and moon cycles cause all documented by the Egyptians. They also created a calendar with a year worth of 365 1/4 days by dividing the year into 12 equal places. Moving water was used to create clocks and sundial styles. Clocks are employed also building in modern day in modern day in Kenya known as the African Stonehenge that built up approximately 300 BC had as astronomically pressure calendar. The Malidago people accumulated a vast amount of meticulous astronomical observation. Next is the metallurgy. Metallurgy or tools is throughout all over the ancient Africa. Significant process in metallurgy and tool making was made. This also include mga art, metals, metal, saws, iron, and copper tools and weapon, nails, glue, and weapons made of the bronze, and also carbon steel. Between 1,500 and 2,000 years ago, Tazama, Busada, and Ziganha made advancement that were greater than those made by Europeans at the time. When Europeans learned of this advancement, they were astounded because the furnaces used in ancient Tanzania were capable of reaching 1,100 Celsius, which is 200 to 400 Celsius warmer than Roman furnaces. So next is the engineering. African soldiers in the past have developed sophisticated constructed environments. Of course, these are remarkable engineering achievements of the Egyptian, such as the move done sa pyramid and the perplexingly elevated obstacles. The biggest pyramid measuring backrest is constructed from 2.25 million stone block. In the 12th century and considerably further south, Zimbabwe and Mozambique had hundreds of large cities. There are the center of cities w- use enormous stone construction. So lastly is the medicine. So before European colonization of Africa, medicine was better developed elsewhere than in Europe, including what is now in Egypt, Nigeria, and South Africa, to the name of a few. Some these customs included using plants that contained salicylic acid to treat pain, as in aspirin, kaolin to treat diarrhea, as in cowpectac, and extracts that were proven to be effective at killing gram-positive bacteria. So, in 20th century, it has been demonstrated that the anti-cancer abortions, including and malnutriting qualities of another plants, were just as effective as numerous contemporary Western therapies. In addition, ovia, capsicum, and their spar were found by Africans. Uh, Vaccinators, autopsy lab, traction and rotting books, bones, bullet removal, brain, and other medical treatment that were practiced in the ancient Africa before they were practiced in Europe.